Dan speaking.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for those of you who came in early. Please stay tuned as we are about to start the event shortly. We will start in 2 minutes' time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Franz, and I will be your MC for today. Welcome to the webinar entitled Saying Goodbye. How ready are you? Once again, on behalf of our entire group, I would like to thank all of you for coming here with us today. Today, we will discuss the topic of funeral planning as an act of love for our loved ones. So before we start, let me do a quick introduction of our team. We are a group of financial services consultants who, after attended an exclusive course, decided to form our group called Be a Different Class. And our mission statement is to make a positive difference to all lives we touch. In line with this mission, we have arranged and sponsored this exclusive private webinar to best serve our clients, especially those of you who are here with us today. After many nights of Zoom meetings, discussions, brainstorming, and recruitment, the team is formed. So allow me to introduce the consultants who made this event possible. We have Helen, Jesse, Mui Kim, Jane, Angela, Nick, myself, Yu Tao, Richter, Ifon, Jennifer, Chris, Faith, and Esther. Just a very short disclaimer, the view expressed in this webinar are those of the speaker and not representative of AIA. So without proper ado, I want to introduce you a very good speaker for today. It is my great honor to introduce you a lovely lady. To her, funeral it is not just putting the departed in the coffin and sending them off. She looks at a funeral as a life's graduation ceremony and believes that general planning can help the departed and the family create meaningful and memorable service. Before founding the Life Legacy, she was in the financial advisory business where she achieved MDRT status for 3 consecutive years. And in 2019, she was hailed as the most innovative entrepreneur and received the Women Entrepreneur Award. Recently, she was given the Award for Spirit of Enterprise, a certified financial planner with a certification in AEPP and diploma in financial management. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest pleasure to introduce you a speaker, an author, a certified funeral director, and a funeral celebrant. Let us give a warm welcome to Miss Ang Jolie May.
Hi, thank you all for joining us today on the Saturday afternoon and for joining us. And also definitely a big thanks to the group for inviting me today. It's really a great privilege to talk about this topic because it's not a topic that a lot of people would like to discuss about, but yet I personally feel that it's essential. So today I hope that I could convince you in some level to change your perception about talking about this taboo topic and to open up this topic and use this method, and because I always feel that funeral planning is not something that should be a taboo topic, but rather it is an act of love. So I'll talk about more as we go along. So I will be, oh, by the way, at the end of this session, I will be sharing a quiz. So if you have some pen and paper, it's great to take down notes, just in case you need to, if you want to win the quiz, and I will share with you the prizes afterwards. So as Franz has shared about my credential, so I am a certified funeral director. I'm also a certified funeral celebrant. I do have my CFP, so certified financial planner, and as well as AEPP. So today I will talk and I will open up a little bit about, saying goodbye. What is the best way of saying goodbye? When I say saying goodbye and as a gift of act of love, there's actually a lot of things that is encompassed with it. All right. So this is my company, the Life Celebrant, TLC in short. In Chinese is Xin Pian Zhang. It's sort of the same, sound. If you understand Mandarin, it's the same sound as New Chapter. But for our company, we believe everything begins from the heart. 一切从心开始. So that's the reason why it's called Xin Pian Zhang, because in the line of work as a funeral director, it really has to come from yeah. Yeah, hang on, because maybe don't mute me so that it's, otherwise I have to keep going up and down. Thank you. All right, so my company is 一切从心新篇章 and then 一切从心开始. We believe that, 以孝道之心，感恩之情，道爱道歉道谢道别. So it's basically encouraging a lot of family members to say the 4 very important phrases in life, which is I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry, and I thank you. So I'll talk more about it along the way. For TLC, we are bespoke and personable, dignified bereavement care services, and then we are very personalized and customized. So we basically would like to know a lot more about what does the departed, what are the needs, as well as the wishes from the family in order to curate the farewell ceremony. And our services, our range of services are funeral services. We also have showers of love, which I will share with you all later, and memorial service, because some of you may be puzzled, what is a memorial service? What's the difference between a funeral service and a memorial service? There's also something called living funerals. I will touch a little bit on that later on. Pre-planning, which is exactly why we're having this seminar today. Legacy planning, as well as post-funeral care services. Now, before I jump into my seminar, I'm going to share with you this video so that you can get an understanding of what we are talking about today. So in this very short clip, it's only like 25 seconds, but yet it depicts our entire life journey, right? So, you know, when I was growing up, I'm always hearing this phrase, you know, 生老病死是人生必经之路. Birth, old age, illness, and death. This is life essential journey. Do you agree to that? I grew up thinking that it is true, and I believe in it. But as I grow older and also being in this line of work, I disagree to this statement, because there are a lot of clients in my professional journey that they are born, they reach old age, never fell ill, and then they passed away. And then I also have individuals who I care for, where they are born and then they are struck with illness, never grow old, and then they pass away. And of course, I have the last category, which is unfortunate, when they're born and then they pass away. So if you look at the whole 4 phases in life, 生老病死, the only constant with birth is death. So these are the 2 only constant, but yet we don't talk enough about it. We talk a lot about the middle part, which is, you know, lao, what's my retirement when I reach old age, or I talk about illness, you know, plans and all that. But very rarely do we want to open up this topic with our loved ones to tell them, when I die, this is what I would like to do. And a lot of times when people know that I'm a funeral director, it's interesting how the topic can eventually open up. And a lot of my friends would tell me like, oh, Anjali, you know, if I die, I would like you to consider this for me. And then I asked them, what do you mean? Like, if you die? He said, yeah, you know, if I die. I said, it's not an if, it's when you die. Right. So I want to change your mindset that it's not about if, because we all eventually have to reach there. Right. And I often use this phrase that all our journeys are different. We have very different life journeys, but our destinations are all the same. So I'll just touch on, you know, saying goodbye, even though today's topic is about saying goodbye and what is.
Sorry, Anjali. We are seeing a little block on the screen itself. Is there any way to remove it? You saw the little downloading block?
Yeah, that's actually the video. I mean, the speaker. Is it okay now?
It's still there. The little block there, do you see on the screen? The downloading black bar?
That is actually I can't shift it any higher, because that's the bar where it will show the speaker, who is speaking and all that. I already moved it all the way to the top. Is it still there?
The downloading bar, you see it there?
I don't have a downloading bar on my screen.
Really? You're all seeing it.
I can stop and share again if that works.
Okay, you try again. Sorry.
Okay. Is it still there? No? Yes?
It still is.
I really don't see anything on my screen. I don't have a downloading bar. I don't know what's the downloading bar you're talking about.
Okay, I'll take a picture and show you anyway.
Okay.
Let's carry on from here. Sorry about it.
No, but does it block your view of the slides? Is it blocking the view of my slides, or it's not?
It's blocking.
I really have no idea what's that. Hang on, I'm just gonna stop share. Maybe because I have nothing on other than the key. I only have my slides on my laptop, but let me just close whatever I need to close. I think there's a chat box in the title just now. What is the black bar? I really don't have a black bar on my screen, so I'm not sure what am I.
No worries, we just carry on now. Sorry about the interruption.
Oh, okay. I think maybe this is what you are seeing, is it? Hang on. So I also want to make sure that you guys can see my slides. I'm gonna just close. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Just give me a quick second. I hope this is better. Wait on. Okay, let's give it a shot again. Is it better? Do you guys see any bars?
This is great.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's continue.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay, so yeah, because basically when I'm talking, I can't really see what's happening in the chat room. So I appreciate that, Helen, you unmute and share with me. All right, so as you see that in my credential, that I'm also a AEPP as well as a CFP, and in fact, because of what I do. And that's why when we came up with the topic, saying goodbye and act of love, it isn't just only about funeral, because it's actually a whole spectrum, right? So that's the reason why you're invited here today by AIA advisor, because this is essential. It's not just about, buying insurance policy. It's also about getting your living will, your financial will, your emotional will, as well as your funeral plans all together. Then that to me is a final act of love. All right, so I'll just touch a little bit about living will, because I understand that there will be another speaker who will touch on certain areas of this, but I think it would be great for you to see the whole spectrum, and you could actually do a screenshot if you want. This is something that I use in our company when I talk to clients about legacy planning, because it doesn't just pertain to pre-funeral arrangement. So we do have the ACP, Advanced Care Planning, AMD, LPA, and then your HOTA Act, and will writing, which I think a lot of people are more aware about, will writing. And then you have your pre-funeral arrangements, emotional will, and living funeral. Now, living funeral basically refers to saying farewell with your presence. Usually it's meant for people who are terminally ill. If I have a choice, actually, I would do a living funeral. Because I want to say goodbye in my own terms, and I want to say goodbye to the people I care for. So I definitely, if I am terminally ill, so that's if I end up being terminally ill, then yes, a living funeral would be better for me. But if I didn't get terminally ill, or I get into an accident, touch wood, then of course I want to do my pre-funeral arrangements. So again, this is just giving you a very big broad scope of what we do, and as well as what in my terms that is a final act of love. Now I will touch a little bit more on the living will, just so that you understand what does living will means, because a lot of people think there's only a financial will. What is this living will? Now living will, the word living just means that you're still living in this world, but maybe you are not in the best state of mind to make decision, or you can't speak anymore, and then who should make decision for you? So I always think this is very essential, because you have so many people telling their stories, about making decision for their loved ones when they can't speak anymore. So I want to touch on this part, which is advanced care planning. And I think it's very important, not just for yourself, but also for your loved ones, because you want to be able to talk about your care wishes, how you want to be cared for in the event you fall sick. And this is a topic that, when we meet our financial advisors or agents, insurance agent, we talk about it, like in the event I get critical illness, I will want to have this amount of sum assured, right, to take care of myself. Now, you only talk about the financial part, which is the money, the dollar sign. You talk about how much you think will be great, what's your hospitalizations plan, and what sort of standard of hospital care you want. But you don't go into the details with your loved ones, which is essential, because they would want to know, in the event you are no longer conscious, and would you like to have enhanced medical treatment or intervention. So these are things that you should discuss with your family. And ACP is not a legal document, but it's very, very essential for a lot of individuals. Everyone should do an ACP, because you want to have this conversation. So I'll give you an example. If you are someone who has many children, or maybe, okay, let me give you another scenario. Perhaps you are one of many siblings, right? You have many siblings, and you are now taking care of your dad. Your dad has fallen ill, and maybe some of you could relate to that perhaps you were in the situation before, or you may be going through the situation where siblings couldn't come to an agreement on the treatment for your father. So maybe he is in a hospital, and then he has renal failure. or rather his kidneys are failing. So you may have a discussion, should we continue to do dialysis for him? But that was stresses his body out. He's already 85. What should we do? But nobody really pay attention to what does your father wants, because your father has never discussed all these topics with you. So now you became, like someone has to make decision. And I heard of stories where siblings fall out because they couldn't agree with each other. So that's the reason why when government started ACP, this is a government project under the Agency of Integrated Care, that they wanted family members to have all this conversation. So I really think it's important to have this conversation. I will send to the team this PDF. You can actually have a look at the PDF and then have this discussion with your loved ones. And if you are interested to actually sort of get it administrated, then you can look for me. I will introduce you to a Fei Yue organization who will then be able to launch it for you. Okay, I'll just show you what ACP, this video that is used for ACP. So maybe then you will understand what advanced care planning is.
为什么这样对我？太不公平了！
因为妈妈爱你呀、去换。OK 呀、去换。哦，为什么你老是这样？哎，因为妈妈爱你。啊。妈，怎么不先吃啊？为什么老是等我？因为妈妈爱你啊。来吃饭。哦，这我最爱吃的嘞。妈，你看谁来了？弟弟，妈妈帮忙。乖。哎，你来抱。妈。 怎么了，哥啊？妈妈老了，总会需要你来照顾。我想提前让你知道我想要什么。妈，你还好好的，为什么提这个？因为。
适合亲人讨论晚期照顾。如何开始讨论？请浏览以上网站或致电。新加坡。
So when we look at ACP, is generally discussion on your care plans, which actually goes very well with your insurance policies. All right, so I would strongly encourage all of you to consider doing ACP. You can even Google advanced care planning, you get all the information. But I want to make sure that you understand that ACP and AMD, they are both different. AMD refers to Advanced Medical Directive. Now, the big difference between them is, this is basically what it means by do not resuscitate, meaning to say that it is AMD is a legal document that you sign in advance to inform the doctor treating you in the event that you become terminally ill and unconscious, that you do not want any extraordinary life-sustaining treatment to use to prolong your life. Now, I want you to focus on the word terminally ill and unconscious. This is a condition that is in the document that will state that in the event you are unconscious. So I do have people asking me, what if I'm terminally ill but I'm unconscious? Does AMD kick in? The answer is no. But again, you see, this document share with you that this is something that, you know, when you're terminally ill and unconscious, you don't want any extraordinary life-sustaining treatment. Now, ACP touch on every other area. When you're not terminally ill, when you're not able to articulate, example, you're a stroke patient, you know, you're not terminal yet, but you know, you are a stroke patient and you can't articulate what you want. So that's why ACP is in fact more important than your AMD. Okay, so I hope this helped you to understand the difference. So ACP is not a legal document, but AMD is. Okay. So if you want to do an AMD, you need to fill up this form. You can download this form easily, and then you need to get a doctor to sign it. All right, he needs to make sure that you're not being forced to make an AMD, you're mentally sound, and you also understand the nature in writing this AMD. And most importantly, I can't stress this enough because a lot of people don't know, or rather they missed out this part, that you must register this AMD with the registrar. The information is all in the form, but sometimes I have individuals who didn't check through. They just thought that, oh, getting the doctor to sign and they kept the copy is good enough. No, you do need to file it. You need to submit to the registry of AMD so that they can acknowledge that it has been registered. Okay. Now, HOTA, basically, as long as you're above 21 years old, we all fall under this HOTA Act. It used to be an opt-in program, but now it's an opt-out program. So from 1st November 2009, HOTA can cover all Singaporean citizen and PR, 21 years old and above, who are not mentally disordered, unless you opt out. All right, so, and the upper age limit of 60 has been removed. So I give you an example, like in fact, last week, an individual that I took care of, he is 80 plus and his corneas were still good. So he basically, the doctor, he had a fall on his birthday, in fact, and then he was in coma for near to 1 week. So they decided to pull the plug. As a family together, they decided it was time to let that go and not let him suffer. So in fact, his cornea was being removed for organ donation. So it's, even though he's 80 plus, but again, this upper age limit 60 has been removed, meaning to say it applies to any one of us. So if you do not want any of your body parts, like example, the kidney, heart, liver, and your cornea to be removed, then you need to opt out. Okay, so this is the HOTA Act. The Meteor is your silent mentor. It's different from HOTA. This is an opt-in program where you decide that upon my passing, I want to donate my body for science and research. Then you sign up for this one, which is called Meteor. And under this, you can choose to donate all your organs or specific organs or the whole entire body, okay, for research purposes. Like this is an opt-in. So you must be 18 years old and above and must be mentally sound, all right? When I come to this part, I'm not going to go heavy on it because you do have another speaker who will touch on LPA. I also feel that LPA is very, very important. For me personally, I did it in 2016, right? And even though maybe I may be younger than some of you, but again, age is never a factor for me about life and death, as I've been through so many and have taken care of so many individuals. So don't use that phrase, 我还年轻, I'm still young. Again, you don't know when things will strike. Now, lasting power of attorney comes in is a condition when you're struck with dementia. Okay, and dementia is a condition that has been raising concern by our government because of our aging population. But however, the cases of a younger person being diagnosed with dementia is on the rise as well. So some of the common type of dementias include Alzheimer's disease and your vascular dementia. So like I mentioned, stroke. I do know of an individual who's really young and he was struck with stroke and now he's considered like dementia, and because they didn't did an LPA before, so the family has to do the application of the court order, which I will come to that later. Now, if you look at this, and if you think about it, in today, if I'm at a live seminar, I will usually get people to raise their hand so that we know what is the statistic in the room, right? 1 in every 10 person aged 60 years and above has dementia, and 1 in every 2 person aged 85 and above has dementia. And at this present, in 2017, when this statistics was done, 70,000 persons has dementia, and this figure is projected to increase to more than 130,000 by 2030, which is why the government is so worried and getting more and more people to do their LPA. Okay. So LPA is a legal document, all right? So this is a legal document which allow a person like yourself, as long as you're 21 years old and above, you are called a donor. You need to voluntarily appoint 1 or more person to become your donee so that they can make decision for you and act on your behalf when you lose your mental capacity one day. And there are 2 areas that they can act for you, which is your personal welfare and your properties and affair. Okay, I will just touch on this. What if I do not have LPA and loses my mental capacity? This is where you need to know the inconvenience that comes into your family members, because it is you probably won't know what's going on because you have lost your mental capacity, but your family members will have to first go to the lawyer, get the lawyer to apply to appoint you as the court deputy, all right, for your loved one. And the price to do that is quite costly. It costs from 7,000 onwards, and the lengthy process can be quite, the process can be quite long. It's also a waste of time, and it's also not your choice. It may not be your choice of person. So I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, we actually helped an individual to apply. In fact, we helped quite a few families, but this one I remember vividly because this was the story of a uncle who, he's a prawn noodle store owner, and he's pretty young, 50 plus. Suddenly he just collapsed and had stroke. So his wife has always been, sort of following the husband to set up the store and all that. So everything was under the husband's name. So she doesn't have access to the account at all. And when the husband had lost the mental capacity because he had a stroke, the wife couldn't touch the account because, again, the bank will say, you need to have a court deputyship. So then we got a lawyer to help her apply, and it took her 9 months. Okay, and during this 9 months, not only did she had to take care of the husband, she had to keep the store open as well. So she had to pull in help from her sister-in-law who helped to open and manage the store, because for that 9 months, she's not able to access to the funds in the bank. Okay, so that's the inconvenience you will cause to your loved ones if you don't have your LPA done up. Okay, it's a very simple process. So I hope that you will join the session, which they will touch on LPA. Then we come to the financial will, which I talk about. You have your living will, you have your financial will, and then your emotional will. So financial will is something that if you have not done your will, please do it. I can't stress the importance of it because I recently learned about a dear friend of mine who passed away, in fact, 3 years ago. And before she passed, she specifically told me that she doesn't want her ex-husband to have any of the money, right? Because they have already split up. And I did encourage her to write her will. She was very weak at a point in time. She told me that it's okay, I got it settled. So in my mind, she said she had got it settled. So I thought she had already done her will. But it's only later, which is 2 weeks ago, when I realized that she didn't write her will, and she just changed the tenancy. She just joined the owner. She just changed the ownership of her property from joint tenant to tenancy in common, thinking that that is good enough. Okay, so it really hurts to hear that the ex-husband still has majority of her assets instead of her intention, which is to the parents and her child. So do write your will. Otherwise, your assets will follow what the government's will is. I always say that this is called a government's will. It's the Interstate Succession Act, Chapter 146. There's going to be a seminar that's arranged by the group on will writing. So do attend it if you haven't. Okay, I strongly encourage you to really get to know what ISA is. If you didn't write your own will, you didn't meet a will writer, estate planner to do your will writing, you need to attend. Okay, you need to know, because you fall under what the government's distribution is, and then you realize that it's very likely not what you want. So please attend the talk. Okay, I can't stress, get your will done up. Okay, so as I mentioned, legacy planning is not just about funeral planning. Funeral planning is only part of it, but this is the entire scope. When I share with our clients and I do seminars, I want you to talk about the entire spectrum. Then you really showing a full and total complete peace of mind for your loved ones. Okay, I can't stress more than that. All right, so now we're going to come to the topic of pre-need funeral arrangement, which is why many of you are probably more keen to find out about this area, because this is a topic that not many people talk very openly, and sometimes you don't even know where you want to find the information. So I do encourage you to ask me questions later, because if you have any burning question, you can even write it in the group chat and the chat room, and then I will answer it later as well. All right. Okay, before we begin, let's just watch this video.
What's wrong, Dad? Please tell me.
Your Nan is dying.
She doesn't know, so you can't say anything. The family thinks it's better not to tell her.
Why is that better?
Chinese people have saying, when people get cancer, they die. We have to go to China.
Wedding is an excuse so everyone can see her.
He's my only cousin. Did you think I should be there?
You can't hide your emotions. If you go, Nana will find out right away.
Really 呀？咋啦？咋不说话呢？今天人多齐呀，好久没这么聚了，奶奶就等着这一天呐。哎，大口咬，哇！哈哈哈哈！
你觉得我们应该告诉奶奶吗？
太痛苦了吧？
如果她想说再见呢？
你告诉她就毁了她美好的心情，你说对吧？搭到她的肩膀上，你说我都怀疑我又不在，他俩在卧室能干啥呀？
Shouldn't we tell her? Isn't it wrong to lie?
It's a good lie. Most families in China would choose not to tell her.
你们说的啥呀？
她在英国学习，所以她会说英文。
结婚了吗？
妈。
She's dying. Can you be a little more sensitive?
What do you want from me? To scream and cry like you?
因为你把生命看成是个体的，这正是西方和东方的文化差异问题。东方人是把生命看作是集体的家庭。
I want to believe that's a good thing.
因为生活呀，不光是你去做什么，更是你如何去做。傻孩子。好多了，好多了，好多了，再来点气儿，再来点气儿。
So this was a movie that came out in 2019. If you haven't watched it, I think it's quite it's pretty interesting when you hear, you know, when they say, oh, Nai Nai is dying, and then nobody want to tell her, right? It's very much like our culture here, when we, you know, even I'm guilty of that, because when my dad had cancer and we didn't want him to know, so we just told him that he's unwell, because we keep thinking that it will affect his mental, you know, he will lose all the motivation to leave and all that. So the irony is that my dad was a funeral director, but he didn't plan his own funeral. We didn't want to tell him even until the end. He knew he was dying only on the last day when he was around. But before that, we just never wanted him to know, because we think it will affect his mental and his physical, you know, his physiological state. So I leave it to you, but I always feel that for me, I think it's important for me to prepare because of what I have to go through with my father's funeral. So I learned a lot, you know, in my life, that it's always good to prepare, because that's the act of love. And I will show you why, and maybe that could give you some different perspective to talk with your loved ones. Now, I want to touch on this, like, what are life's biggest events? So we talk about, you know, a birth of a child. That's also one of the biggest events. We throw parties, you know, school education is so expensive. Now I discover, now that I'm a mommy, yeah, education, you know, costs a lot of money. And going to university, to the right you, when you get married, that's your biggest event. And of course, when you buy your first house, and then maybe unfortunately things doesn't work out with your union. And old age, like I mentioned, right? 生老病死老. That's the key thing. Have you prepared for your retirement? And then, of course, is our farewell. Now, we always consider about, you know, I have attended and also been invited to quite a bit of birthday parties for kids, 1 year old. And I'm actually quite surprised by the amount of money that the parents will actually put in to celebrate, right? And when you ask them, oh, how much do you pay? And they are willing to spend, sometimes even in, yeah, I think the one I read about before was about 5-figure, 10,000 over, just for a child who's 1 year old. And it's quite surprising how much they will pay, right? The next one, of course, is your wedding. How much are you paying, or how much did you pay for your wedding? And I have so many people telling me, oh my God, my dream wedding is this. Irony is I never had a dream wedding. I never had this even growing up. I do have a dream funeral that I would like. buying your first house, how much did you set aside? These are your big tickets item, right? That you usually put in money and then save out. So these are major events that will consist of quite high or a considerable amount of your money. But what about your dream farewell? Like I mentioned, that all of our journeys are different, but our destinations are all the same. And I've so many times where I hear children, wow, how much does this cost for funeral? And they will even argue on the amount of money that they will be doing for the final farewell of their loved one. Now, I want you to change this mindset. Some people are afraid to talk about it, but actually funeral is not something that you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it, because if you just change your mindset that a funeral is actually a life's graduation ceremony, 人生的毕业典礼. And when you think about that, then maybe the way you carry out your life will be different, because a lot of times you may say, oh, I already graduated from NUS, or university, or I graduated from poly, so what's next? I don't need to worry about any graduation. But when you look at funeral, I always see it as a life graduation ceremony. And on that day, who are there to celebrate with you? And I mean celebrate, not celebrating your death, but celebrating your life, that how many lives have you touched? How many people have you impacted? What are the things that will be said at your funeral? So these are the things that I think is important. And that to me is a measure of success, right? Success is not about the monetary, the physical assets, or your financial assets that you leave behind. It's really how many lives that you touch, and what are the things that people say at your farewell. And that to me is important. So I want to give you a peek of my graduation party. Like I said, I have my dream farewell. It's going to be a white casket, and I actually love roses. I don't like receiving them. I think it's a waste of money, but I do like the color red. And I love cheongsam. I always wear cheongsam. I have so many cheongsams. I have a big collection of hand fans. So I do have people who buy hand fans for me as a gift. So to me, I love collecting them as well. Actually, some of you may know I'm actually a salsa dancer. So that's a big part of my life. That's why I'm suffering a bit because of COVID, so we can't do salsa dance. So I would like to have a dance floor where we can do dancing. So this is something that I would like, where we will have my live band, and then we can, my favorite, the band that will always play at my favorite place. And on the right, I will have this to be distributed out, where you're invited to my funeral, but you have to wear something colorful and your dancing shoes, because I wear black all the time, like even now. But I generally, if you look at my wardrobe, I have like 70% black because of my work. So I do want people to come and celebrate my life. Some of the things I would really like is if you have photograph of me or message, I would like to display. And I also like all this, like, hand fans. What I would like is this hand fans, to empty hand fans, that I would like everyone who comes to my funeral to write messages, and then messages about how I've impacted their life, or who I am to them. Maybe I can be a saltabo, or whatever it is. I just want them to tell the truth, because this will be kept as a memory for my daughter, for my children, so that when she's bigger, she can actually read about mommy. All right. This is our company slogan. We believe that a funeral is not a day in a lifetime, but a lifetime in a day. And that's how we came up with, the life celebrant, because it's really about celebration of life. It's not about the death. Now, legacy planning, a lot of people, well, now we are better. In the past, I think 10 years ago, legacy planning was something that people don't really want to hear. Less than 15% of Singaporeans have done legacy planning. And in fact, less than 5% of Singaporeans plan for their funeral. Okay, so I want to check just now when I mentioned, like, is will enough? And some people tell me that, Angelique, actually, I written my will in my, I written my funeral wishes in my will. And I don't need to talk about funeral planning because I have it in my will, I don't need to discuss with my children. They can just follow all the instructions in my will. Now, whenever someone tells me this, and if you are also someone who has already written your funeral or your final wishes in your will, this is something that I tell you from my personal experience, and I will strongly discourage you to do that, because in Singapore, if you just think about it, when your loved one passes away, what will you do? Okay, what will you do? So what will you do first? So very naturally in Singapore, the first thing you will do is you will engage a funeral company and you will conduct the funeral first, right? Then when the funeral has ended, then you look for the will. Now, there are two scenarios that two real case scenario that I have been through. I'll share one with you where we actually took care of an old lady's funeral. Now, when we talk about the final resting place, the son said to me that, oh, Anjali, I would like to scatter my mom's cremated remains to the sea. So because to me, scattering someone's cremated remains is an irreversible process, right? Irreversible means I can't change my mind tomorrow and say, okay, I changed my mind for the final resting place, let me pick it up, because you already scattered. So usually I will check with the family, are you very sure that this is what you would like? And he said to me, yes, I'm very, very sure this is what I would like. So the next day we chartered a boat and we went out to Marina South Pier and scattered his mom's ashes. Once that was completed, and 1 week later, the son called me, and then he said to me that, oh, Anjali, I actually found my mom's will. And in her will, she actually stated her funeral wishes, as well as she has actually bought a columbarium niche to put her final resting place. So this is why I said to you that please do not draft your funeral wishes in the will. This is something that a lot of lawyers will tell you to do. Okay, but every time when a lawyer says that, it's not applicable in Singapore. Okay, even though you can tell your executor, oh, you know, my funeral wishes is in the will. If anything, you just look for my will. But you don't have the right frame of mind, because again, if you are the only family member who knows that mommy has written the funeral wishes in the will, right? And then you tell your siblings, hey, mommy has written, you know, let's look at her will. Your siblings will think that all you want is to know what mom's final, you know, financial distribution are. They may think that all you want is, you know, mom is not even laid to rest, and all you care about is her financial distribution. Okay, so it's not something that I think is easy for local culture to do that. But yes, in other countries, they don't have something like us where we have a funeral wake for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. So that's the reason why they do write their funeral wishes in the will, because they only have 1 day service. So usually 1 day service, meaning to say they will fly all the family members back to their country, and then they will sit down and open up the will where they will discuss what is mom's wishes, okay? Because they don't have our funeral wake for 3 or 5 or 7 days. So that's the reason why in Singapore, please do not draft your funeral wishes in the will. Okay. Now, why do I need to pre-plan then? Well, pre-planning is not you know, is an act of love. So we always say 留爱不留债. So you don't want to be leaving a legacy where you see all your family members in loggerheads or disagreement or dispute or conflict because they think they know you best. Right? So you want to be able to tell them, look, this is what I want. Just follow what I want, right? Then your children will not have dispute, right, between each other, or your siblings will say, this is what she wants. Let's respect what she wants. So just to give you some perspective of which celebrity has actually pre-planned their funeral, we have Prince. He has actually passed away, but he actually pre-planned beforehand what he wanted. So that's why, you know, Prince's funeral was very, very low-key. It was only by a few close family members, and he wanted to serve his favorite food, as well as to conclude his funeral with his hit song Purple Rain. Justin Bieber also, even at 22, he decided that he wanted to pre-plan his funeral. I think that was the year where Prince passed away, and also David Bowie. So that's the reason why he pre-planned his funeral. And he wanted a solar panel video screen as a tombstone and a hologram to go with it. So we suspected it's going to look something like that, right? So don't be surprised. This is actually something that could happen. And in US, a hologram is really quite common in some of the funerals as well. Then we have Faye Wong. At age of 34, she actually did her pre-planning where she purchased her resting place next to her mother's plot. And this was going according with feng shui. So why do I need to pre-plan? So first, of course, like I mentioned, is to give your family a complete peace of mind and to have the benefit of a meaningful funeral where it is something that is reflective of your personality and your religion, or something that how you want to say goodbye. That's your way, right? And final wishes to be followed. and also to eliminate frustration because family members may not know and they don't know what you want, what's your final outfit, and they may have dispute between each other because again, they're going through their own emotions and then they have to consider all these things. And this is also to prevent unnecessary dispute between siblings or even children, grandchildren. Now, some of the things is to, they say to maximize the value because you do want to put in money first, sort of the pre-plan, and then you protect against inflation. And if you know, in the olden days, in China, in fact, they do 我们买寿嘛，因为棺木就叫寿木, right? So some people believe that if I do this is to let me 天福天寿. So it's sort of to ask for longevity and good fortune. All right. So I'll just show you some of the things that we do for religious funeral. There are different religions, of course. We serve the Buddhist, we serve Christian, Catholic, okay? And then we also serve Taoist funeral, and as well as Soka. And also secular. Secular has been sort of on the rise, where people are free thinker and they want to have a more commemorative style. So we usually talk about flowers and photographs, usually a lot of photographs, so that people can talk and share stories about this person. Earlier on, I mentioned a bit about memorial service. Now, memorial service is something that it's going to happen after COVID period. The reason why I say that is because a lot of funerals now, because of the COVID situation where family members can't fly back. So usually we do a very short funeral. And when you talk about memorial service, it's 追思会, where we all gather together to share stories of the person. Now it is what we call in the absence of the body, means the casket is not there, no longer there. Funeral maybe has already been completed. And then you hold a memorial service, right? So it can be held anywhere. We have done it at the art house. We've done it at a hotel and some events room before. So what about funeral hearses? So I just thought maybe it would be something, since you don't often get in touch with this area of topic. So I just share with you what is actually on the available, right? Funeral hearses. So what would you like to be the last vehicle to send you to your final resting place? Would you like a traditional hearse like that, or even more traditional Taoist sort of, we call this a guantao tia. It's a very old traditional lorry sort of style. And then you have something nicer, which is like a limousine hearse. Or even this is a Toyota hybrid Prius. So if you see something like this on the road, please know that it's not a limousine, it's actually for a funeral, okay? Where you see the back door, the last door, yeah, that's where the casket goes in, all right? Now we look at the food. Food plays a big part in funeral. In fact, in the past, there's only curry kueh and cha bee hoon, right? But now you can have a bigger spread. So you have your standard catering, but you can also have tapas style if that's the way you want it. People are more like food connoisseur now, right? You will go hunt for good food, and you want nice food, not just the standard curry kueh and your cha bee hoon. So you may want to have all these options, or even want to have a chef that serves your favorite food, like popiah, or I have one that we served satay, individual who love mochi. So we have a mochi station. So everything that we do are very customized and very personalized to the needs and the desire of the family and the departed. We also had ice cream before, because the departed love to eat ice cream after funeral. So we served ice cream, and when we served the ice cream, it was also his favorite brand's ice cream. So when family they were very pleasantly surprised when they received the ice cream. And then in fact, I think the family members, they were all raving about, oh, that was Dad's, favorite flavor. And he always have one tub, like a small tub after his dinner. Okay, so these are the things that we could do. Now, I want to touch a bit more about one of the service that we started called Showers of Love. It's in Chinese, it's Liu Xing Yu. As you see, a lot of our company, we do with the word sing. Okay, Liu Xing Yu, 把心中的话语永远留下来. So this is what I strongly believe, where we do a final act of service, we shower our departed with the love. We have a final word of thanksgiving to express our grief and gratitude. And it's also the final window of quality time to remember all the beautiful memories. So we are the only company in Singapore who's doing this service and this came from the concept of the movie Departures. So maybe some of you have watched this movie. If you have not, I think you can YouTube it. It's on YouTube. The full video is now on YouTube, maybe Netflix as well. So it's talking about this gentleman who was involved, you know, in the final dressing and the makeup for the departed. And it was in the view, all the family members are sitting there and they're observing what he's doing. And throughout this whole ceremony, the departed's dignity is preserved. Okay, meaning to say they have a towel, they have a cover to cover his or her body throughout the whole ceremony. So this is our Showers of Love sanctuary, where we are located at Geylang Bahru. So this is our lounge area. When family members come in, they can have some food and drinks. The reason why we started with my concept was having a lounge was so that family members can sort of unwind, because a lot of times they're so busy in the hospital, and when they hear the news, they are rushing here and there, and very often they don't realize they're actually quite hungry until they reach our place, and then they realize, oh, actually I haven't eaten my lunch or my breakfast. So we like to make them feel comfortable and very cozy environment for them. Then the next thing we get them to do is to write messages where they can fold origamis and they can give to their departed loved ones to express their words, any words, you know, of gratitude or forgiveness. Now you see all the chairs being lined up there. So this is where the family members will sit, and then the departed will be resting on the dressing table. And this is the view of the family members when they're sitting down. And that's where our team members will help in the dressing and the makeup and even in the showers for the departed. The reason why we started Showers of Love also because there are a lot of individual, if you don't know that the older folks, when they are in their final stage, most of the time they're not able to take showers. Not just older folks, but cancer patients. They are usually just a wipe down, right? They don't really have a full shower. So that's the reason why I believe in giving a full shower, so that the departed will feel that, yeah, before I go to an event like my farewell ceremony, my farewell graduation ceremony, right? You want to be dressed in your favorite outfit or your best looking outfit, and you want to be clean. You want to be clean shave, you know, hair to be how you usually wear it, not when you're sick and then all the hair is combed back. So there's so much details that I emphasize in Showers of Love. The final look of the departed is so important. I know of so many people who share with me that, oh, they got a shock when they see their loved one in the casket. They didn't look like him. So in our Showers of Love, we want family members to have the final say, meaning to say after we have done the makeup and the hairdo, family members would come and take a look, and they are the one who said, yes, this looks like mommy, or maybe the lipsticks are too dark or too bright. We can adjust, you know, everything we can adjust as long as they're still in Showers of Love, right? Then before we encoffin the person into the casket. Okay, so this is participation from family. We strongly encourage them to participate. Now, the final resting place, in fact, in Singapore, it's good to let you know, and so that you could think about where you would like to rest. So we have our government managed columbarium, which is, in my opinion, I call it the HDB, okay, the HDB columbarium. Then you have your private columbarium, which is probably your condo. We do have private residence, which is by the government managed cemetery, but unfortunately it's a 15 years leasehold. So it means that 15 years later, you need to exhume the grave and then find a final resting place again. So a lot of Singaporeans don't like to do it twice. So that means to say they will just go straight for cremation and then place the cremated remains in the columbarium niche, okay? Then of course, there's other options like your sea scattering, and recently we just started, in fact, 2 weeks ago, we started land scattering in Choa Chu Kang. So you have now an option of sea scattering and land scattering. Now, the reason why land scattering is very popular with a lot of elderly is because they believe in Lu Tu Wei An, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So that's the reason why land scattering is more popular now. Like over the last, in fact, 2 weeks, we have 2 families who already chosen land scattering and over sea scattering. And again, sea scattering is also because the older folks, they always tell me, oh, I don't know how to swim, so I don't want sea scattering, okay? And then also because when you do sea scattering, when you miss your loved one and you would like to, you know, sort of go to a place, right, to speak to them, you probably don't know where they have sort of float to, right? So, but when you're doing land scattering, it is at Choa Chu Kang, so you know where he or she has been scattered. So you know that's the place where you could say your final goodbye. We also in our company has this legacy plant where we put the cremated remains into a plant, and then family members can bring the plant home and have it in the comfort of their home. So columbarium, keepsake. So we do have people who said, oh, I want to keep a little bit of the cremated remains and I want to wear it as a jewelry. You could do that also. Or ash diamonds, where you want to use the cremated remains and put it into a diamond. And maybe you can have it as a necklace or even as a ring. So I'll just give you some perspective in terms of the pricing, because you're probably asking me, so Anjali, how much does all this cost? Now, if we talk about the government managed columbarium, the single niche is from 1,500 onwards. Now, buying a niche from the government is $500. So it means to book the slot is 500. Then you have double niche where you want to buy two together, then it's 900. They give you a discount, but you can't pre-book. So meaning to say, let's say you decided, oh, Anjali, I want to go to Mandai. I want to rest in Mandai, my final resting place. You can't go to Mandai and say, I want to place a booking now. They don't allow you to do that. You can only purchase upon a passing. That means someone has passed away. Then you can buy a double niche so that you can have two persons together. So let's say you would like to have mom and dad to be, together double niche. One of them has to pass away first, then you can buy the double niche together. Okay, but if both are still well, they can't go to Mandai or any of the government managed columbarium. There are three: Yishun, Choa Chu Kang, and Mandai. You can't go there and say, I want to do a pre-booking. It's not allowed. Government managed cemetery, I said 3,000 onwards. Oh, sorry, let me talk about the government managed columbarium, because you probably realize my what I said was 500, but why is it 1,005 here? Is because then you have to pay for the urn and also the plaque. All right, and then it's onwards because it depends on what kind of plaque and urn that you want to use. So that's why it's onwards. Okay. Now, government managed cemetery, the plot, the government cemetery plot is 940. So then on top of that, you need the tombstone and all that. So that's about 3,000 onwards, just giving you a ballpark figure. Now, private columbarium, I put 2K plus and more. You probably have quite a big range because, again, private columbarium, I'm talking about churches, I'm talking about temple. So these are what we call private, or Nirvana in Choa Chu Kang. These are the private ones. So it depends on where you want to go, right? So every private columbarium has different pricing. And then, of course, they always go by eye level. It's more expensive. Something that's a bit higher and lower are usually cheaper. So you can always pre-buy, pre-arrange your private columbarium, okay? Now, inland ash scattering at the current moment is 320. And then, so sea scattering, you have a choice of Changi Pier, or you can go to Marina South Pier. So Marina South Pier is more expensive as compared to Changi Pier. Okay, so I just thought maybe, a lot of people are asking, and sometimes the agents, back then when I was being a financial advisor, every time when we come to final expenses, I was only using a small amount of 10,000. But to be honest, now 10,000, you can't do much, right? Because imagine just now, it depends on what you want. Again, I'm not saying you can't, but it's going to be a straight cremation. You may not, you may just want to have a government's government columbarium niche, or even sea scattering or land scattering. That's the cheapest, right? So, but just to give you a perspective, since I said, your funeral is live graduation ceremony, how would you like your ceremony to be? So these are the range. So you need to consider what kind of casket you want to use, whether there's embalming, where is the funeral wake venue. Okay, this is very important because a lot of the private parlors, a lot of families are choosing parlors now because they live in a condo and they prefer to be in the parlor because they don't want to have it in the void deck where they have to stay overnight, etc. In our company, we provide overnight service watch as well. So what we want you to consider is where will be the final, the funeral wake venue. Okay, because a lot of times, maybe parents, they has been in the hospital for a long time, so they want to be at home. So usually I have family members who say, oh, I prefer, because mom has always wanted to go home, so they will have the funeral wake at their void deck. Okay, then whether there's like funeral rites, usually is Buddhist and Taoist, you usually will have to consider how much you want to spend on that area, prayers item. Funeral banquet, when I say funeral banquet, usually we call it Hui Ling Zuo, meaning to say after the funeral, you want to give thanks to all the guests, then you will have, like a sort of a banquet to thank them, right? That appreciation gifts as well as your final resting place. Okay, so I give a very ballpark. Of course, there are some things that are cheaper, but you want to understand exactly what you like. What would you want, right? Then you plan it out. So yes, I've done funerals that is in 6 digits because the food is extravagant. That's how they wanted it. I have siotu, like I have people serving food, plated service. Like you go to a wedding and you sit there, you don't move, they plate you. I have funerals that we did something like this too, because again, we're very customized and very personalized. All right. Now I just want to touch on the emotional wheel. We talk about funeral, but I want to touch this part, which a lot of people may have left out. But this is part and parcel of a funeral planning as well, because it is about your legacy, where you want to share your thoughts, your lesson in life, your passion. So how does emotional wheel works out? So it can be in the form of a letter. Back then when I was doing will writing for my clients, in fact, I always encourage them to write a letter for their children and put it together with their will and seal it up so that their children will open up the will, they could see those letters that they leave. Or it can even be in a form of an art piece if you are an artist, or audio recording. I think it's very powerful. I've taken care of funerals where we do recordings and we are tasked to keep it until she or he passed away. And then we play the recording. And with that, I want to share about this lady that I have the honor to serve her last year, where I met her about 3 weeks before she passed, where she shared with me what she wanted for her funeral. She's very, very young. She's only 46. And unfortunately, when she was struck with a relapse in her cancer condition, she didn't just give up. She really wanted to make sure that she has taken care of herself. So because a lot of times when I talk about my work, they are really like mentors to me. So I want you to learn about Coach Aggie here today. This was what she wanted to do, which was Aggie's favorite thing, and I want you to hear.
Okay, guys, I sorry, can we do it again?
Just before she passed away.
Let's do one more time. Right, thank you everybody for coming to this very special event. And today, for the first time ever, I'm going to release a very special song crafted and created by Trudy and me, a song that haven't been heard before. Don't worry, I'm not singing, William.
Very, very good singing. Thank you.
倒回 with youtiao osmanthus with jelly, packets of bakwa and packets of Cheezos, brown paper packages from Lazada. These are a few of my favorite things. Warm showers daily with 很多 rose petals, Korean facials that make me look pretty, moisturize hair with Guinness and egg.
But don't drink it.
These are a few of my favorite things. Youtiao from Shangri-La makes me so happy. Youtiao from Tiong Bahru Market. Cantonese congee that's silky and smooth. These are a few of my favorite things. When I'm hungry, when I'm grumpy, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
So after this song ended, I got everybody to give her like a standing ovation, like a round of applause. Aggie is really amazing. She loved whiskey. We talk about that also. And in fact, I was invited back to their family house after the funeral to drink in her honor. Right. So I like being, beautiful part about my work is getting to know people and also becoming their friends. But I want to share this last one that she specifically asked me to play it just when everybody is about to exit the funeral hall.
Alamak, you are still here? time to go. Don't worry. You and I, we are just on a long holiday break away from each other. When time and conditions are right, we will meet again and spend days and hours with laughter and joy and drive the bosses a bit nuts. Have a good day, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
So would you imagine how this message was so effective in getting everybody to smile and laugh, because this is so much her personality. All right, so it can also be in the form of video recording. I think that's also quite useful. So I want to leave you with this very last video recording that I think is very meaningful, and perhaps this could give you a better idea about funeral planning.
妹妹，爸爸和你玩那么多次捉迷藏，每一次都一下子被你找出来。不过这一次，爸爸决定要躲好久好久。你先不要急着找我，等你吃完10次蛋糕以后，你再问妈妈，爸爸躲在哪里，好不好？爸爸要躲那么久，你一定会很想念爸爸。所以只要你想到爸爸，爸爸就会被魔法出现。爸爸魔法是趁你睡觉的时候，跑到你的梦里玩游戏。你看着爸爸的照片的时候，爸爸也在偷偷看着你哦。要记得，爸爸一直都陪着你，会看着你长大，会盯着你吃菜。爸爸要拜托你一件事，请你好好照顾妈妈，看你是不是比爸爸以前做得更好。
知道了，妈妈，你都哪一个玩？
爸爸想，我们这一次玩捉迷藏要玩这么久，妈妈有时候看不到爸爸，一定会偷哭，偷哭就是犯规，游戏就算输喽。所以妈妈偷哭，你就要逗她笑，不然游戏输了以后，她一定会哭得更厉害。妹妹，现在游戏要开始喽，要记得，爸爸好爱你，好爱好爱你。爸爸没有离开，只是躲起来，躲在我们家里。妹妹，你准备好了吗？比赛开始了。
爸爸，我找到你了，在书房里，在出门前，在照片里，还有儿时的回忆里，在妈妈的思念中找到你，在我身上找到你。爸爸，不管你躲在哪里，我都知道哦。你躲在我和妈妈的回忆里，躲在家里的每一个角落里。爸爸，你知道吗？妈咪每次犯规的时候，我都很努力的逗她笑哦。爸爸，你真的好厉害哦！你的魔法让我变得更坚强。我今年考上高中了，成绩也还可以。妈咪在晚上的时候也开始学英文了呢。爸爸，你没有离开。因为你的爱一直都在这里。爸爸，我真的好想你。比赛结束了，爸，我赢了耶！ 现在我是不是可以哭了呢？
当生命不得不结束的时候，你能留下什么？
So that's why I want to end this session that I really like this video. I saw it about a couple of years ago, and I think it's a lot of meaning why all of you are here today listening to me share my this session because of love, right? We are all here because of love. If we don't love our loved ones, you know, why do you bother to even spend your Saturday here listening to this? So I wish to leave this with a quote that I always use. Live life with no regrets and live life with no regrets. Now, this, I really have summed up what we talk about. So today, I'm really, really grateful that all of you are here. I just wanted to quickly jump into the quiz that I mentioned to you all, that at the end, you know, we will have a quiz where you get a, we will have 3 winners, and the winners will in fact get a second copy of my book, Dying to Meet You. Later, you'll see the full cover. So I do have a second edition. In fact, I have 3 books, Dying to Meet You, where I share about my stories, where of all the funerals that I've encountered and how they are mentors to me. So in fact, Coach Aggie is not in the second edition because I only did her funeral late last year. So if I have a 3rd edition, she's definitely going into my 3rd edition of the Dying to Meet You. All right, so if you could just open up your chat room, there will be 3 questions. I will flash all 3 questions at the same time. I just need you to put true, false, true, or true. I mean, the answer will be true or false, or true, false, true. You can even just do TFF, FTT. Don't need to spell the entire word, right? So open up your chat room, and then the team will be looking at who is the fastest, 3 fastest finger and the 3 fastest finger. All right, and let's go. Now the first question, I should do pre-funeral arrangement, true or false? Advanced care planning is not important. And 3rd one, I should indicate my funeral arrangement in my will. Okay, first one, I should do pre-funeral arrangement. 2nd, advanced care planning is not important. And 3rd, I should indicate my funeral arrangement in my will. All right, let's see if we have, yeah, write all 3 answers together so that it's easier. Okay. So I will, there's a lot. Okay, so I'm gonna flash the answer. Is true, false, false. I don't know who's the winner yet, but the team will consolidate and then give it to me. Then I will sign the book with your name. So congratulations to all of you who got, why is it true? I should do pre-funeral arrangement. And advanced care planning, it is important. So that's why it's false, right? It is important. And I'm very glad that a lot of people say false to this one, because I should not indicate, okay, in my opinion, you should not write your funeral arrangement in your will. I explained my reason just now earlier on. All right, congratulations to the winners. But nonetheless, for all of you who are here, I will give you an emotional will link where you can actually keep your, you know, your letters and your voice recording and even video recording in there to give to your loved ones. I really like this website a lot because they are like, I penned down a message for my girl when she turns 21, this letter will be given to her. If you watch P.S. I Love You, the movie, yeah, this emotional will link is almost like that. Okay, so I'll share it with the AIA team and then they will give it to you all. Okay, so thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for staying and being with us today. I believe our speaker is having a hard time with her internet connection, but let me once again go back to our game for today. We have our winners. We have Lawrence Lau, Darren Ho, and Ching Pei. Congratulations once again to Lawrence Lau, Darren Ho, and Ching Pei. So someone will contact you today so we can pass you the prizes. So as we are waiting for our speaker for today to get back to this webinar, maybe we will try to entertain some questions for you guys. We have one question here from Amanda. She was asking how to begin planning with you if I'm keen to engage your services. So as we are waiting for Anjoli May to do that and answer the questions, maybe you can guys keep on coming with your questions. Just open your chat box and type your questions, and we will be more than happy to entertain those questions.
Hi, sorry, no idea what happened. Friends, I do need to share screen. If you can enable me.
Okay, sure. She's back. Okay, let me allow you to share your screen.
Sure.
Okay, you can.
I'm so sorry, I couldn't see all the chats before already, so
It's
I
all
will
right.
leave you to share.
No worries, we had it consolidated for you.
Right. So this is my social page or LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with me, you go to Anjoli May or Facebook or Instagram. And this is our company's details if you would like to reach out to me. Most of the time I will be the one who's handling the calls. If not, will be my team. Or you can even reach me personally through my social page. Okay, thank you so much all for joining us today. And then I'll give it back to friends. Maybe you can help me with the questions. I know there was like quite a bit of questions, and unfortunately I got kicked out. Yeah. Final winner, yay! So we have Lawrence, Darren, and Chin Pei.
Hey.
Yes.
All right, thank you once again, Anjoli May, for that very amazing sharing. I believe all of you guys are feeling very emotional as much as I do. That webinar was really like a roller coaster ride for everyone. Okay, so we had a question just now from Amanda. She's asking, yep, she's asking, how can she start, if she wants to engage your services. I don't know if she will just contact you through that slide that you posted, or you might want to add on for that.
Yeah, I think it's easiest to reach out to me, or even reach out to your advisor, and then get your advisor to get in touch with me, and then we can arrange. If you prefer, because of this COVID situation, some of them prefer Zoom, just so that I can have more of a one-to-one, because today, it's just sort of a broad stroke of sharing with you what I do and what we do. And then they would prefer to meet one-to-one, where they will talk about their own personal situation. So yeah, I'm happy to do a Zoom or even meet up. Yeah, now is the meeting up is going to your place, if you're comfortable with that. But other than that, yeah, Zoom is fine.
Okay, thank you. To Amanda, if you're listening, I believe and I hope that she answered the question. So as we move to the next question here, we have a question from Edmund Tan. He's asking, which will take precedence, will planning or funeral planning?
To me, both. Will planning is about your money, right? Your financial perspective of how you want to manage and all that. But the thing is, before will is being executed, a funeral has to happen, right? You need to be laid to rest first. So both are equally, I always feel, that's why you see the living, when I did that whole pie, the pakwa lah, that's what people always call it. It's the whole legacy planning consists of everything in my context, right? Because I know there are some like planners, they only talk about specific areas, but for me, in order to say like have an act of love, is really a full planning, which is everything. So will writing, your funeral planning, as well as your living will, all these are very important. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I guess that's it. You know, everything is equally important, and we have to look at different things equally and separately. Just to go back to Amanda's question, she's asking, you know, if there's a validity period for funeral plans.
Again, it depends on who you engage, right? Because you know, if I know some funeral companies, they do have packages, they do have their terms and condition. Like for us, it's of course there's no expiration date. Yeah. So but what we do work very closely with our clients is if there's updates, right? When they have things that they may say, oh, Anjali, I like this photo. This is my funeral portrait. Then like 2 years later, they send me and say, no, Anjali, I have a more updated photo now. So I want to use this. So these are the things that we even come into the details, like the final outfit. This was the outfit that they wanted. They changed the next outfit. So again, different funeral companies have different practice, because I know some of the funeral plans for some other companies, they probably just lock in the package and then that's it. So when I say package, you know, it's all about dollar sign, but I feel that a funeral is more than that. It's about personality, how you want to say goodbye, your voice recording, you know, your audio. So it's very, very customized. So the emotional will link that I will be sending all to your advisors, and then they can share it with all of you. You'll be able to sort of have an idea how an emotional will would be like, and then you can actually explore. There is an option for you to leave even your funeral instructions. But again, you know, anything that is not it's not recorded with a funeral company or recorded in your will is very, very dangerous. Because when I say dangerous, because you don't know who will have access to that information first, or whether they're going to check it out first. Now, so some of you may be questioning like, oh, but Anjali, if I were to do a plan with you, how would my family members know that you have done a plan? In fact, we do have a card that we give to our clients when they do pre-planning with us. And on that card is actually all the details of the policy, like sort of like an insurance policy, right? So then we have the, you know, the case number, the name, and then also the photograph that you will be using for your funeral portrait. And at the back actually is information of our clients, and also a note at the bottom that says, in the event of my passing, please contact them. They have my funeral instructions. Now this card is given to our clients. The clients can request for as many cards as they want. Usually they will give to their immediate family members, like maybe their children. So they will ask me to print like 3, 5, depending on how many children they have, and they will give to them and say that mommy has made my plan, my funeral instructions. You don't need to know the instructions. You just need to call TLC. Upon my passing, they have my instructions. So that is how we usually work with our clients. And I hope that help Amanda to understand, you know, the validity. So there isn't a validity period in our company. Yes.
Okay, sure. That's quite a vague topic, yeah. Okay, I guess this is the last question because I don't see any other questions. This is from Tiarong. How are the rates like for all the living will planning?
So for LPA, again, I didn't go deep into it because I know there's another speaker who will be touching on LPA. Generally, LPA, there are 2 types of forms. So you have Form 1 and Form 2. Now, if you are someone who don't mind like reading it up and then understanding about living will planning yourself, actually it's very simple. You just have to, you know, read the instructions and then do it yourself. Like for example, your LPA, if you do Form 1, you just need to pay the doctor's fee, which range from 150 to 300, even a cheaper one at $50, you could also find that. For LPA, it's you just need to pay the doctor fee. Application is free. AMD, most of the time the doctor charge about $100 over, and then ACP is FOC. ACP, in fact, the organization that I work with is FOC, so it's great, you know. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on that for living will planning. So you're talking about in the range of maybe a couple of hundreds, probably less than 1,000. That's if you're doing LPA Form 1. But if you're doing LPA Form 2, it's a different story because LPA Form 2 has been drafted by a lawyer. Okay, so I'm not going to go deep into it because this is covered by another speaker. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I guess there's no more questions. Let me just take a quick look in our chat box. Okay, so there's no more questions coming in. Maybe just a final word or final message to everyone. What do you want to leave behind?
I'm really, really grateful to all of you for joining us. In fact, to be so open-minded to talk about this, or even to receive information and knowledge about this topic, because I really hope that today you get to have a different perspective and be enlightened to talk about this taboo topic, right? Or even if you want to get a copy of my book, I do have some actually friends and also advisors who use my book as opener to talk about this topic with their loved ones, because they find it so difficult, right? A lot of times when we want to say to our loved ones, like just talking to your mom or dad, like, Dad, have you thought about when you die, what would you like? But sometimes your family members will say, hey, choy, or they get angry that you're talking about this topic. So it's always never a right, perfect time to talk about it, right? And sometimes, a lot of times where parents are ready, but the children are not ready, right? Parents will say, okay, child, when I die, I want you to do this. And the children will be like, choy, why are you talking about all this, unlucky things? But this part is where you should, whenever your loved ones open up this topic, you should really pay attention. And don't shut them down, and then don't shut them off. I always feel that when someone starts this topic, take this opportunity to carry it on, or even like watch that movie that I show you, the Farewell Departures. I have so many movies, if you have Netflix, the recent one that I've been asking everybody to watch is Move to Heaven. A very beautiful movie. So Move to Heaven, another Korean one that I saw, Hi Bye Mom. And that's, I always learn from movies, like what can I do better? So yes, so these are the movies that you could actually use to open up topics. So don't be afraid to talk about this, this topic. And yes, I think someone asked about where you can buy my book. It's cheaper to get it from us, directly from TLC. We do have the English copy at Kinokuniya and Popular, but however, they are more expensive if you buy from them. So you can consider to get it from us directly. The Chinese book apparently is out of stock in the bookstore, but you can still get it from a copy from us. And usually if you get it from us, I will autograph personally. Yes.
All right, cool. Very, very well said. I guess, we are taking too much of your time. So once again, thank you very much, Ang Jolie May, for being with us today. We really appreciate all those value added and informations that you have, covered throughout this whole period. So thank you. Thank you very much, and you have a good day.
You too. Thank you all. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
All right, so to our attendees, we would like to thank you once again for joining us today. And of course, our dear speaker has already enlightened us how life must be celebrated. So please do speak with your respective consultants who invited you here to know more about how can you assure that your family will be well taken care of in the event of any risks, life uncertainties, and planning for a comfortable future. And speaking of love, family love, let me say, a while ago, our dear speaker talked about emotional will planning. And in line with that, if you want to know deeper about other aspects of will planning, as what she was mentioning, LPA, trust, or maybe simply how can you ensure that your wealth is being protected and distributed according to your wishes, we will be more than happy to invite you to our next webinar that we lined up for all of you. This will happen on September 11, 3 months from now, from 2:30 p.m. till 4 p.m. So if you are interested, please connect with your trusted consultants to book a slot for you, and we will be more than happy to assist with you. So as I formally close this session for today, I just want to impart you this very important and powerful passage, a final act of service to shower our departed with love, a final word of thanksgiving to express our grief and gratitude, a final window of quality time to remember beautiful memories. So once again, on behalf of the entire Be a Different Class team, we would like to thank all of you for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Have a good afternoon and have a good day. Thank you.